So now we come to the next challenge, the largest area to prep for flooring. First, a couple of words on the kitchen here. You notice I put these along the joist lines. Actually, the 3/4 inch is under the joist lines. These I put them in here just on top. Truth, off the top of my head, I don't remember these things. I put these in there the same way because it's just easier. And it's 3/4 inch plywood under it, so it really doesn't matter. 3/4 inch is going to stand up no matter. Over here, this is all 1/2 inch plywood, so I'm trying to level it to the 1/2 inch to match the floor. There are so many low spots. This whole end over here is low. Basically, there's what they're going to have to take up. The proper way to do this would be with the subflooring tongue and groove, but I'm a cheapskate. The 1/2 inch plywood is $30 versus, I don't know, it's like $51 for that subflooring. And you'll see where they ran theirs along the joist lines. Mind you, this is 1.5 inches, 2 3/4 inch piece of this crappy OSB, whatever, pressboard stuff. So I'm tempted to put plywood along here, lengthwise, to make it so this whole surface is nice and uniform size-wise, but it really has to go across the joist because, well, I've got to see how that's going to work out. You want it to end on these floor joists. And I don't know the top of my head because I can't find my tape measure that I had in my hand. Oh, there it is. All these things to consider before I get moving on this. So let's just see if I made this out to here so that this is all one section. Just kind of, this is really, it's all soft. The only high spots are here. This whole side's down. I'll show you some other spots I'm doing there. So, pardon me. I'll have to watch a video. Why is it all the marks are in black except for the 8-foot ones done in red where you can't see this stupid thing? So anyway, it's going to come all the way out to here in the middle. I'm not sure that's really going to matter much since I'm screwing it down into this floor. But this whole thing has to be leveled. It's going to be tilted up that way. Everywhere I'm walking is soft in between. I stuck in some 2-inch foam to fill the air conditioning heating ducts because they're trashed. If you saw any of the earlier videos on the bathroom floor, they're collapsed and broken and whatever. Over here has been replaced already with a piece of plywood. I'm not sure what that was, but it seems to be okay. Over here, what I'm having to cover up, another one, as you can see, the floor's collapsed. So I'm probably going to go in there and repair that section between what looks like the joists over here and over here. Put some 3/4 inch plywood in there. This is soft. I'm hoping that the 1/2 inch plywood is going to be enough, that there's enough underneath it that will support so it won't be sagging in so much. And I have some reclaimed laminate flooring that I reclaimed and put in my other house that I'm going to be pulling out and bringing over here. It's not going to be perfect, but like I said, I don't want to put too much money in this thing. This was $240 just for the 1/2 inch plywood. 3/4 inch plywood, so nice. I can't just do the whole thing in that. It's a little cost crazy. Especially this is a temporary I'm only going to be here temporarily, so I'm already putting too much money into it. But neither here nor there. I got to figure this out. Self-leveling compound is like 50 bucks, $30 for 4 pounds, and just looking at the stupid ad on Lowe's on their internet, it's terrible. There's no details and square footage for that stuff, and it's supposed to only be good for an 1/8 anyway. So the other way is to run in some what do you call them, phantom stringers along, and if you put thick enough sheeting on top of that, because there's big gaps underneath it, you should be okay, because it's basically the same as putting in the regular flooring. I'm going a little cheap on the flooring because most of this is the right height. It's just areas where I got to cover up and figure out what I'm going to do underneath there. It may be something as dumb as putting sheetrock in there where it takes up the space. I said it's not going to be perfect. Over by the walls over here, there'll be a couch under here, or over there on top of it, there'll be a couch sitting there, so it's not like you're going to walk on it. Main places, which is where I was thinking about, well, it's going to work out. It's all going to be, this is where the one piece of plywood, so I'd be walking on this here, should be okay. So now the door's good. No, that's crap. Yeah, and then another piece is going to be cut at 4 feet probably, again in red. I know there's a reason for that. I just don't like it because it's hard to see. As I get older, that gets to be an issue, so I'll probably cut the next one in half, just so they're split in between the sheets and they don't have the sheets lined up alongside each other. It's always a bad idea to do that. So anyway, this is what I'm dealing with. I got to figure out what to put underneath there if I really care so much on that side. I'll just lay out some. I think I'm just going to lay out some of them and see how it goes. We'll go from there. See how it goes. I think that's the word. See how it goes. There's not going to be a lot of people running around here anyway. So, all right. This is basically just because I like resurrecting things. Alright, that's it. We'll see what happens here. So don't be in a hurry is another good philosophy to go by. My other option is to start over here by the door. The more I think about it, it's probably the better idea. Since you walk in the door, then you'll have a 4x8 sheet to walk upon. This will give me a second place to level to. I'm basically going to have to level from that piece to that piece and take up the slack in the middle. Just a quick little aside, the easiest thing to figure out where your level is to level, put some screws in and make those level, so now you can use these as reference points anywhere on here and put screws at the low spots, and it'll show you how high you are if you're going to fill them in, make some shims or something in there. I think I'm going to go ahead and do this. I think I'll get a nicer piece. It doesn't have any big cutouts in it. This is the most difficult one here, because I gotta trim it to fit. I'm gonna make it fit through this doorway to the edge inside there, so that that piece that goes in there could be straight. So it'll have to be cut so that it comes right out here to the edge. And that's gonna be some kind of I haven't decided what's going to be there yet, so I'll have to figure out what goes on that edge as far as how far to put that piece out. See, the wall's not exactly straight across. I'm going to cut that little piece of trim right there too. And cut all the little pieces. Pieces of crap that are probably going to come off anyway. Probably going to put new sides around everything. Just for aesthetics. You can see my joists are going to be all out of whack as far as where the seams go. But like I said, I'm putting down just solid, hopefully solid flooring so I can screw it down to that. Not worry about the joists. Wherever the joists come out, I'll be putting 2-inch screws. Just to stick them to the joists, as you can see here, over here. The rest will just be 1 5/8 screws. Probably throw some heavy duty liquid nails under there too. Alright, I think I'm going to do that. Trim that out with a nice piece and work from there. Use this as my reference, the entrance. Just like putting in laminate floor, you got to start somewhere and decide where your first line's going to be. Yes indeed. And then I'll get to the rest of this. Figure out the rest of it as I get this first section done here, and then I'll use that so the rest of this should be pretty straightforward to get this side leveled up. Alright. Okay, I'm wimping out. I'm just going to do one cutout. Reason being, if I'm going to do both cutouts at once, that means I have to take in consideration the fact that this is going to move that way and that way, so that these measurements have to be displaced over 3 inches basically, and these have to be moved over 3 inches that way. And looking over here, I was going to bring it out to this edge. These edges are not level. This one sticks back 1/4 inch more than that one. I'm going to leave it. When I do that floor, I'm going to bring that out to match this. So all I'm going to do is cut these over here. So in order to make that go that way, I got to cut 3 inches out of that. Looks pretty straightforward here. However, this is actually about 3 1/4 inches. You can see there's a gap in here, so I'm going to come back 3 inches here to match that so that they're parallel. And I'm actually going to cut this back here 3 1/4 inches. As you can see, the wall, it's bouncing on the wall there, and the walls aren't straight. So I cut that section out. And that little corner over there, theoretically, now this piece will slide right up in there. It's going to give me a pretty big threshold there. I got to get the water stopped leaking over the top of that. But that's a heck of a lot easier than if I try to do both at once. And this piece is pretty good. Of course, under here is a big 3/4 inch, nice sturdy piece there. This is all nice and sturdy. I'm liking this idea better. And then I'll go ahead and put 2-inch screws on this. Those and these joists over here, and then hopefully everything else will screw down with 1 5/8. Alright, that's what we're going to do. Alright, just a quick word on where I'm cutting everything. This is my cutting table. I'm big on using whatever I got. So the back porch deck, like deck works. I got a piece over here, it'll stretch out. I can stretch them across. I clamp them where I can. I'm using mostly just a skill saw. To get clean corners, I use a jigsaw to do the corners. I'll cut up to the edges, like in the corners on that other piece, but this of course is just going to be a straight shot across. And let's pretty much do everything out here. If I got to chop anything, bring out my compound miter saw and just drop it out here and cut everything out here. It's nice and outside. Blow everything off. Doesn't make such a big mess. When the mess I make here, I'll just use a little broom and brush it off. So anyway, here's my carpentry wood shop, so to speak. Okay, so my first piece is cut nice and tidy. Right up in the corners, up against the wall. Here's my second piece, which I cut at 79 1/4 inches. But as you'll notice, I got to cut that 3 inches off the edge. So I want a nice flat piece. The next piece of plywood is going to be 4 feet here, and then 8 feet is going to go out around here, and then another 4 feet over here. That way we've got a straight edge across the seams, like flooring. Yeah, it is flooring, huh? Don't want to line everything up like this. Alright, so we cut that piece off. It's probably going to be about it for today. So I've got a piece of 3/4 inch plywood up under there. You can see that's kind of pretty close to leveled off, but I got nothing right here right now. This is still got to come up with a way to level that out underneath it. I got these 2 pieces done, cut. I will probably be working on that so that I can get them installed, and there's my base for everything else, because as you can see it match up just dandy with the rest of the floor, and that's the idea. I want a nice flat floor all the way through the kitchen, through the living room, the bedroom, I don't really care about, and the hallway and all that, but I have a nice solid floor from here to there. I put my laminate flooring in. I'm not sure about this thing. I still think it's probably coming out, but maybe. We'll see. Right now I just need to get a good floor in here so I can get moving ready. Alright, so that's probably going to be it for today once I cut this little thing. Alright, well, it's been a couple of weeks, but I think I've come up with a solution to my issue about the low spots. I said I think so. In the back there, it's going to have to be up like 3/4 inch. But for these low areas, because it's only 1/2 inch plywood, it doesn't give a lot of support. So what I think I'm going to do, since I have the materials in the trailer next to me that I'm tearing apart, I got these 2 inch panels of styrofoam. And these things can be cut simply using a handsaw, and it's going to be messy, but it also compresses a bit. So the low spots are in between the joists. I'm going to put a piece in the middle. I have screws. I've put screws to make level, so it's level. Basically going to end up being level with the top of the joist. And I'm going to cut me some sections and lay them in there. And theoretically, that'll take up the gaps, give it some support, and it should feel pretty solid at that point. And then I'm going to put laminate flooring over the top of that, but it's got to be nice and flat to start with that. So that is what I'm going to work on. See how it goes. Hopefully I'll get into a rhythm here. It won't take long. I'd sure love to get these 2 panels down before dark today. So this is kind of figure it out as you go kind of deal. I got a couple of 1/2 inch pieces of plywood up under there to hold that. I just threw a little piece of sheetrock under there. I got the screws in there to give me the height. I have leveled a piece of 3/4 inch plywood basically all the way across the back, so that's level left to right. Now I'm trying to level it from the wall out. So far so good. That's looking pretty good. This one here is looking pretty good. See under there. So this is what I'm shooting for. So now I have to come up with, I think what I'm going to do is squirt some brake stuff up under there and up under here. Well, actually I'll squirt it up under here so it goes out that way. Hopefully it'll cure tucked up in there like that. That should be enough to hold that corner. It's not really going to be in that corner anyway. The main issue was out here. We're going to be walking, and I think that's going to be pretty good. Everything back up in here where it's really low. I think I'm going to have a couch right here, so the couch will probably be sitting right on this. The feet, I'll put the feet right on this joist. Ooh, sounds like it's starting to rain. Anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm going to continue whittling away. This is going to take some time though. And we'll see how it goes. Hopefully the rest won't be so slow once I get out to the middle. Of course, I got to deal with some holes in the floor over there. Okay. You can see I notched out that took one ply off the plywood. Make that levelish. Alright. Okay, so I come up with this brilliant idea. I cut some insulation panels, 1/2 inch, smashed them with the hammer so they'd be flattened out when they would soften up, and then I just spent about half an hour making artificial snow. Try to just fill in some gaps or whatever, and I'm going to drop this down on top of it, and if it seems to feel okay, I'm screwing her down. I had enough. I got to get this done. It's dragging on. Well, so I managed to accomplish what my goal was today, and that was to put these 2 sheets in. This one's a piece of cake because it's pretty solid over here now. Put that big 3/4 inch piece in. Screw down, had to use 2 inch screws to get some of this to hold down. Especially at the seams. I put 2 inch at the seams anyway. So 1 5/8 where I could, but most of it is 2 inch. And on this one here I used external screws since it's at the doorway. It's going to get wetter than the rest. No rust. Don't want any rust. Even though it's going to have flooring over it. Alright. Tomorrow. Yeah, we can do this half section tomorrow. I don't think I can get this other section done yet because there's holes under here, so once I get that section done, then we'll start working on the rest of the holes. The rest of this should go pretty quick once I get those taken care of. This is pretty flat. Flat enough, I believe. Alright, we're cruising.